Is it? There it goes. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After podcast. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
No, I know. It's like, well, I mean, there's no day after yet. We're still waiting for the next season, which Winners at War. It's finally coming. What we
Yeah,
anniversary season.
yeah,
It's
and
so
it's looking like a crazy season so far.
it's like if you've seen Hunger Games, that franchise, this is like the quarter quell, like where it's all the victors except except obviously no one's going to die,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it,
maybe Edge of Extinction. Maybe that's the new twist. Someone actually just dies out there.
I mean, is what it might do to ratings. I mean, Boston Rob, like during Heroes versus Villains, he wasn't looking too good at one point. I don't know who else here had a health scare. No one really. I mean, other than Tyson busting his arm. But other than
Yeah,
that,
but that wasn't really a big deal.
no. You didn't get
He
it
wasn't
was
going to lose his arm or die off of that.
no, no. Uh, but also Edge's Extinction, because I made like my list of like my prediction, and I found it really really tough to be like, because that's the thing that kind of could throw a monkey wrench in everything, as we saw in Edge of Extinction. Like, let's say Boston Rob gets voted out first, and then he spends the entire time on Edge of Extinction, and then boom, he comes back, sweeps the rest of the challenges. Boston Rob is in the final three. Um, it
Yeah,
could be something like that,
I'm pretty confident that these winners are not going to respect the game of someone on Edge of Extinction. I can feel like they are going to want to reward the person that's been there the whole time. So even if a Boston Rob comes back into the game, idles his way, wins immunities all the way, and gets in, I think he still is not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like a hypothetical, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
like, because there are so many different factors, and I don't think anyone is going to like, even last time only two people left Edge of Extinction, raise the
Mm.
mask. I don't think anyone would, not with these people. Like the fact that it's 2 million and also the glory, like I feel like when during the finale, when they have their final time to get back, we're gonna see everyone there.
Yeah, I
Like,
could see Sandra raising if she goes out pre-merge.
no, I don't. She seems too much like a fighter. I don't
You
see her
think?
doing.
I feel like she would know that she's not going to come back into the game, and she'll be just like, okay, I'm out. Like, if she goes near the end of the pre-merge, she'll probably stay around long enough for that first challenge. But I could then see her doing a Wendy or a Keith and then just raising it afterwards.
I feel she is way too tough for that. I don't. Maybe Danny Boatwright, mostly
Danny,
because
yeah.
I'd say if anyone would, I would say it would be her. And that's mostly because, one, she was playing the game when it wasn't so hardcore, and two, she's the most. I would say out of everyone here, she's like the most goatish in the
Oh, really? You
sense.
think she's a goat?
I think she's going to be a big ass goat. She should
I
not have
I'm
won
not
that.
sure.
She should not have won that season.
You think that Stephanie played a better game than her?
She's a go too, but at least in the sense of, like, Steph, Stephanie. Wait, don't you mean Sophie?
No, it was Stephanie versus Danny in Guatemala.
Oh, we're talking about the final two. You
Yeah.
know, Stephanie actually did stuff though.
Yeah, but I respect Danny's game actually. Like I think she was she's a very underrated player. I don't know if you saw her interview for this season. Her main thing that she wants to do is find idols. I don't think goats go into the game wanting to find idols. Like they find an idol, great, but that's not what they're going in to do.
I don't know. I see her going far in the game, but I do not see her winning this game. I feel like she is going to be tagged along against other icons. I mean, out of all the returning players from, we're gonna say pre Heroes versus Villains. Out of all the returning players, she is the most unrecognizable. And
isn't that a good thing though? In this kind of season,
that's why people are going to bring her as like the Karishma of this season.
And I loved Karishma.
I know. So I mean, it's kind of applicable in both ways. I see her being more of a. I don't see her being a huge threat at all. I feel like they're going to be like, oh, okay, she doesn't really know the game, so we're just going to have her along because she seems weak and we'll beat her to the end. And that'll get her far, but I just don't see it. I'd say out of everyone, she is my least favorite to win.
Really? So she's your number 20?
No, because I base it on of what I think is actually going to happen.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, we'll see where she places on my list. But number 20, I think you already know what it is. Mostly because
I think we've talked about who we both think is not long for this game.
Yeah. I think. Well, let's go through the list and then we'll.
Yeah. Okay. So since you managed to pick Tommy first last season and win, I think it's only fair that I get to choose first this season.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my winner pick, who I think is going to be a 2-time winner, is Tony Vlachos.
Okay.
I already see the disapproval of that on your face there.
No, it's just that I feel like he's going to do very, very poorly in the sense of like he's a wild card, and also I feel like here's my theory about this this game is that a lot of people are going to start targeting people that have played multiple times as opposed to 2 times. Mostly because like, oh, they had different shots to do it. And, you know, I can see them kind of having that mentality of like, oh, okay, Tony, he was in 2 seasons before this. This is our second season. Why not take out Tony or something like that? So I think that might happen because in a game where there are so many different people that have won the game and they have a winning strategy for most people. You know, it's like you have to find some reason to vote people out. And that's what made it hard for me to make this list in a sense of like, all right, yeah, there are these people that have played multiple times. They're technically more of a threat than someone that has only played once.
Yeah. Well, so here's my whole thing is, I think that if he wins this season, it will make Game Changers so much better because he has now learned from that season. He went into Game Changers as Tony the character. He's going into this season like he did his first season.
Yeah. It was very, very... I just remember, I'm going to go looking for the idol.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, Tony wasn't that crazy guy until the merge, until a little bit into the merge, actually. He was paranoid, yes, but he wasn't, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to build a spy bunker. He wasn't doing all that till later into the game.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like because reputations are also going to be things that play into a factor. Him being a wild card, it's always tricky because you never know. Because like he faked out people with like an idol that had no power. He's, he'll swear on literally anyone or anything to get ahead. Like even if he cleans up his game like last time, he still has. I still feel like he has a ways to go to like actually win. Like
But
if he does,
remember
don't get me wrong.
when he went out to Game Changers in the first few days, people still wanted to align with him. They still wanted to be aligned with Crazy Tony, even though he literally was like, "I'm gonna go find an idol." It wasn't until he started confronting other people that's when it changed. So if he just doesn't do that, he could go very far in this game.
He could. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he was your number one on the thing, but I also find Tony very, very entertaining as well. Like I said, when I made this list, uh, I didn't necessarily choose my favorites on top. I chose who I think is most likely to win, and
Yeah.
I feel
Well, the thing is, I have him as first because he's my favorite, and then there's going to be this big dip of who I think is going to win.
yeah. Like my favorite is, I'll say, out of everyone, he's still like in the top half out of the 20. I just
Top
think
half.
out of all 20, as in like final 10.
Yeah, he should be at least top 3.
You see, I want to be right though when I make this list and I show off and I'm like, yeah, right guy got it right. But the fact I held him out for in the top 10 shows because I don't know, sometimes if I put forth like the effort and think about it, I can guess pretty well. So it was kind of like a thing of like there were some characters where I'm like, all right, maybe not so early, but there's a point where it's like, all right, this will probably be where he goes or she goes. There were at least 2 characters where I'm like, I don't want you to leave so soon. So maybe I guess you a little bit higher than your initial spot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's my first pick. I think it's he's winning, and if he does win, this season will be amazing. Like you just gotta admit, if he gets to the finale, even if he just gets to the finale, the season will be amazing.
I mean, I'll be impressed because, like I said, the name of the game is like low key gameplay. If he can, do what he did in pre-merge and then kind of, in a way, also do a Brad Culpepper where he kind of like stepped away from like his original personality or his original perception of like what people sees as him, then he can also navigate through it. But we'll see. Like, I want Toadie to last long.
Yeah.
I just don't think he will.
Did you know that he is tied for the oldest person out there?
Really?
Yeah, he with Ethan. Him and Ethan are the same age.
Huh.
I
I
know,
guess
right?
sometimes he is. Well, I mean, one, he doesn't have any hair up there, so sometimes it's hard to like gauge age that way.
Yeah.
Um, but all right, now for my first pick, I'm going with Kim Wolf.
You're taking Kim.
She's your number 2, isn't she?
She was my number 1, and I switched her with Tony.
You're gonna regret that. Like, no, part of the reason is one, she held together a very, very successful alliance in her initial season. Also, I don't feel like, kind of like I said, low key games. She plays granted, she was the leader, but she wasn't like in your face that much. The fact that she was the leader, she was like, she acknowledged it. People knew it, but like, she wasn't like 100% in control, like calling it. It wasn't like a Boston Rob scenario where it was like super, super like, all right, it's Boston Rob. We are sacrificial lambs for him. It was more like her alliance really respected her. And she was also, played the leadership role without like overstepping or being like the ultimate obvious threat. Because there was always like other people she could target.
Yeah,
So that's why I put her as number 1.
The reason I didn't choose her as my number 1 was solely based on the interviews. Every single survivor said that she played the most dominant game. So already, and like I thought that she was going to go in kind of under the radar because a lot of people forget about One World, but they don't forget about Kim. So going in there, she could be an early boot just for the fact of them remembering that she controlled that entire season. Even though it wasn't against the best players, she still controlled a season on her first time out there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I don't know. I feel with as big as threats out there, I feel like a lot of people, especially when they see legends, not just like really good players, but legends, that's when people are going to be like, okay, we got to target these people because, they are iconic.
So you're saying if Rob Mariano was on your tribe, you wouldn't want to be with him a little bit into the game just because it's Rob Mariano.
I keep my options open. Of course, I would be cool with him if he wants to make an alliance. I'll have that in consideration. But if I'm on a tribe of all stars, I know he's the biggest threat. He
Okay.
is like he is the Survivor poster boy.
Yeah, they made a statue of him.
Yes. A lot of people consider him one of the best players to ever play the game. Jeff Probst himself is one of these people. I mean, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's why I chose Kim. Low key, and I feel like, well, I didn't watch the interviews. I read like the bio stuff on like I think it was on CBS for the people this season, like how they play differently and how Survivor has changed their life or what's changed since. I was like, you know what? I think Kim, but I feel confident in my second choice. Yeah, we'll see. But first, your second choice.
So this guy, I am choosing because he was my first winner pick, and he ended up winning the game. I got Adam Klein from Millennials versus Gen X.
Okay. All right.
I do worry pre-merge for him. He is someone that can very much go out pre-merge, but if he makes it to the merge, there's going to be very little reason to get rid of him until near the end of the game.
Yeah.
If at all.
No, I agree. I think the one thing that's going against him is that he is a super fan.
Yeah.
And people know this. So that's why he's actually lower on my list, is because first off, I didn't want to get I kind of wanted to vary it out a little bit because I didn't want all the people that played multiple seasons to get out first. I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like there's going to be a big chunk in the beginning that are, and a few will kind of sizzle out through the merge. But I was thinking, all right, who from the newer generation would probably be early out or a big target? I feel like he's one of them because he's a super fan. Mm-hmm. And a super fan in an all-star season is a huge threat because that's the guy that knows everyone's game.
Yep. He has been playing poker with Boston Rob. I do know that. So he is in with Boston Rob. Boston Rob, by the way, we should point out, he knows almost everyone in this game, on a personal level. Not just they were a survivor. He hangs out with them. And that's, it might help him. It also might not because it's a game. No. So...
Well, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Rob. That's probably near the end of the video.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 2, I chose Yul Kwon.
Yul Kwon, interesting.
Part of the same reason as Kim, in the sense of he played a low key game in this, and he did the leadership thing. He was never too in your face about things. Because he had a good one, he had the shield of the immunity idol, and I think that's going to work in his favor because some people won't see him as a threat because he had the broken immunity idol back then, that's why he got so far. I think people might come with that mentality. Also the fact that he did align himself with the right people, and he was able to bring pretty much everyone in the core alliance to the end, with the exception of I forget who she was, but that was mostly because she because of the whole only half the people going to tribal council, and she was kind of like the odd one out. But like he did very, very well with like, keeping that core together. And then also he was so close with Ozzy, which him bringing who was individual immunity threat. The fact like they were really aligned, and like Yul was untouchable because of his idol, and Ozzy always for the most part winning his idols. It's like he aligned himself pretty well, so that's why I think he's going to win. People are going to underestimate him, and he is a pretty good, I feel, low-key player.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I have this feeling he is the merge boots. I could see him kind of fitting into that kind of. He's going to help out the tribe a lot in the pre-merge, and like he's a loyal guy. No reason really to get rid of him in that point. But once they get to the merge, I think all hell's going to break loose, and he's going to be the one on the receiving end of that. And it sucks because I love Yul. I never thought I would see Yul on my television screen again. So it's crazy to see him again.
No, like I was always like ever since I saw his initial season on Cook Island, I was like, when are they going to bring him back? Because like he's a player that he's been pretty underutilized up until this point.
He's one of the winners who is just like, I won, I'm not going to play again.
Which I understand that mentality, yeah. I guess it's like a thing of like, when we think of like good players who have only played one season, he is one of those, well, up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. Okay, on to my number 3 pick. I have Jeremy Collins.
All right.
I think he's going to come out again with the meat shield strategy. He has already stated that he has found his meat shield that he plans on using for the game. And I mean, it's an effective strategy that's still being used to this day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the one thing that's going to be going against him, because he is higher up on my list. He's not like in the top 5, but he's in the top 10. And part of the reason I think is he's a very likable guy, and he is shown to be like a leader. I mean, he would have gone far in season 29 if it wasn't for the fact that like it was like opposing leaderships, opposing alliances, and then the floaters went one way as opposed to the other. Yeah. I feel like he would have gone further in his initial season, and part of the reason he won is other season was, one, he was a very likable guy. He saved information like he was dying to tell people, and like he was very, very smart. And so like I see that, and I'm like, maybe not the biggest threat as of the moment, but when it comes to merge, it's like after like the meat shield is gone, it's like, or maybe before, it's like, oh, Jeremy, yeah.
I definitely don't see him going out pre-merge. I think that they would kind of be stupid to take him out pre-merge.
I don't think he's going out pre-merge, no. I think he's going to be out at least before Final 7.
Okay. How crazy would it be if he goes out the same place as last time, second into the merge?
I mean, sometimes it happens that way.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. But he is also one of those guys, if he ends up getting to the Final 3 for whatever reason, it's really hard not to give him the win.
Yeah.
Like the other person who beats him in that situation had to have played as dominant of a game as Kim or Boston Rob.
Yeah, I mean, he also has, and like I said, he is likable.
Yeah.
And that, as we saw last season too, two of the likable characters, they made it far in the game, but it came to a point where we just could not keep you around anymore, because likability is crazier, or likability is more of a threat than someone who is, maybe has a better social game or better low-key game. Likability, because, people are voting. And, I'd say both Jane.
Janice?
And Janice.
What? Who?
Anywho. And Elise both of them were extremely likable, and if they made it to the end, they would have been one of them would have won, you know?
Mhm.
So I feel that's the one thing that is going against Jeremy is
Yeah.
that he's very likable. He is a threat. I don't think the biggest threat, which will bring him far in the game, but his likability will be his downfall.
Yeah. He also has stated this is the last time he's ever going to play Survivor.
Well,
Yeah. He said he was one of those guys who only came back because it's season 40.
I mean, yeah.
So, it's really hard to turn down a season 40 because everyone remembers Heroes versus Villains, and this is supposed to be on that level. So
I
it's
mean,
hard to say no to that.
they all winners. To be
Yeah.
honest, I thought they were going to save that for 50. I mean,
Yeah.
if they made it to 50.
I think they will. I don't know if they'll make it to 60, but I feel like they'll definitely make it to 50.
I hope so too, because,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
my number 3 pick, I've been talking shit about this person. Number 3, I think is going to be Danny.
That was my next pick. Damn it.
But it's kind of like what I said. I feel like she isn't memorable.
Uh-huh.
So people are going to come to her and be like, oh, hey, come with me. I'll protect you and stuff like that. And she'll be like, okay, yeah. And she'll go with the throw. She might want to play a dominant game, but out of all these iconic people, like I said, I needed to look her up to remember what season she was in. I feel like
no one from Guatemala has come back except until now.
Yeah.
Except for Stephanie, but like she was a returning player already. But
yeah. So I just don't really. I see her making it far into the game clearly because out of everyone, she is the most unknown. Even more so than some of the recent winners. Because I'll admit, some of the recent winners, I had to remember how they played. But it's like some of these recent players, they're still fresh in the minds of a lot of people.
And they were just out there too, so they know they'll be able to get back into it a lot faster.
Yes. And so I think that's why she's going to make it far, because people are going to not want to vote her out because they think they can beat her.
Mm-hmm. I see. I was going to pick her next because I think she's definitely going deep, and I feel like she might squeak out that underdog victory that just under the radar where you don't expect it, and all of a sudden Jeff reads the votes and Danny gets the win.
I don't want her to steal another victory.
I don't know. I am actually very excited to see Danny play again. Because we the last time that she played, she purposely didn't tell production anything that she was doing, just so that they wouldn't interfere with her game.
Which, fair enough. I just feel that out of all these people, she doesn't stand out. Don't get me wrong. I would love it if she becomes, kind of like someone that just, they do way better their second time around, like Wentworth, where when they brought her back, I was like, what? She wasn't that, or she wasn't as memorable in 29, but when she came back for her second chance, it was like, that's when I became a fan of her. It's like, oh man, she is so cool.
Yeah, and she was good from episode 1 of that season, but in the first 4 or 5, however long it took for her to get out, I don't remember her in San Juan del Sur.
Because even in the pairings, because she went with her dad lasted longer, and I don't think her dad even made it to the Verge. So, But anywho, all right, your number 4.
My number 4, I have Nick Wilson.
Okay.
I'm getting a sense of I'm not sure from that pick from you.
Well, it's he's one of the people that I kind of had to remember how he played in his season.
Really?
That was recent. He is the most recent one, so I feel he's kind of I feel like he might be a pre-merge one, mostly because he's kind of he has a good build on him. He might, depending on who's out. He seems like someone kind of like with Wu, where like, oh, he could be a physical threat. Take him out.
Yeah. My fear is in David versus Goliath, he was going to be the first boots. If Pat wasn't medevaced, he was the first boot of that season. And because of that one thing, he ended up winning the season. Um, so that is my fear is he has that ability to rub people the wrong way early on. And he doesn't know anyone out there, whereas everyone else has had the time to get to know everyone. He's pretty
Yeah,
much he's just come back.
yeah. Like when was David and Goliath? That was
37.
yeah, that was like 2018, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's had like 6 months to really be a part of the community.
yeah, yeah, and then
Whereas everyone else has had over a year.
which if we're going back to the Hunger Games thing, one thing that put Katniss and Peter back in, or them going back into the game, it put them at a disadvantage because all these victors knew each other because they would always come together and stuff like that, and they kind of have that mentality where so I do feel, yeah, that's why I kind of also put him further down the list as well. Like I said, pre-merge, like the episode before, right before 13, assuming that's when they're going to do merge.
I've been hearing potential 14 for the merge. Just because they've been enjoying the bigger jury members. I guess though Edge of Extinction, everyone's pretty much going to be a jury member unless you raise the flag early on.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? We could have what is that like a 17-person jury?
Yeah. I mean, this time it's 20 people. So like, my one problem with Edge of Extinction world for a 20 person season is I'm not the biggest fan of double elimination episodes or if they're extremely abundant. Kind of like with last season where we had quite a few. I guess that's like my one fear. I have the utmost confidence that this is going to be a great season, but for double elimination episodes where it's like, oh, one immunity challenge, and then, oh, later on it's like a different day. That's my one problem with it. But yeah.
I like the elimination episodes when it's like they break you up into teams and each team does their own individual immunity challenge and then they each go to tribal. I like that when they did it last season with Aaron and Missy going out. I thought that was fine. I think the numbers were off and they should have done it at a different time, but
or something. I don't remember another one. Or like I definitely think they might do like a pre-merge. One person or one tribe goes out first, and then afterwards the other one comes in. I feel they might bring that back. It's just because, technically speaking, if we count the people that will come back from Edge of Extinction as a new player, that's 22 contestants, in a sense. But anyway.
Yeah, I think Edge of Extinction should just be the pre-merge portion, and then once you get out, once the person comes back in for the merge, I feel like they should just stop Edge.
I mean,
I know that they're not going to, but I feel like that would be better.
Oh, in a perfect world, yes. I just know that Survivor in the past, granted it's in the past, but they've been known to, like when they had something like Redemption Island or Edge of Extinction, they would kind of do two within the season. The only difference being in Pearl Islands, but even then they were bringing back two people. I guess that's the one thing though. But anywho, my number 4, and I feel like I might be stealing her away from you.
Oh, Denise. You are. What? Denise, no, that wasn't it. She was actually a little lower on my list.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm interested to hear your opinion, but for me personally, I feel like she's someone where, like she played a great, like kind of like social game her first time around. She's the only person that has been to every tribal council in her season. she's the only person to have done that and won nonetheless. I always, or like, she seems like someone where, she might not, like I said, be the biggest threat, but like near the end, they're going to see, oh, she's likable. Oh, she's, like, might make a case against her. It might also depends on how she plays this time around, but I feel like she's going to get further into the game because of just proven that she knows how to survive.
Yeah, that's true. I do like Denise. I just don't think this is going to be her season. I think a lot of people are going to try to find, like try to be her Malcolm. But I'm just not sure if that will happen.
All right. Like I said, I'm still standing by what I'm saying. I just feel that, I mean, at this point it was hard because when I eliminated a lot of people, because so far, except for Jeremy, everyone you've listed has been below 10. It's mostly, I'm thinking like the biggest threats out there. I don't think she is the biggest threat out there.
Yeah, not at all.
When I got to like final, I would say after, because Jeremy was number 8 for me. I'd say after that, then I was like, okay, wow, we have all these people.
I'm recording. Yeah.
All of these people, I felt like, okay, I think she might make it a little bit further than some people I'm going to name later.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, she could do it. I could definitely see her going out pre-merge just for being the older woman. That could just come back and get you. It's really hard for me to put an older woman higher up, even though Janet last season did great. Denise was the older woman her season, she won. Like, it happens. It's really hard.
I would imagine so, but I'm like, part of the mentality making my list, like I said, assess the biggest threat.
Yeah.
And I think that, out of everyone, she may not be one of the biggest threats, maybe a sleeper threat a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm actually now picking my first female of this season. Very different from last season, as I mostly had females. This time it's my first one. I'm going with Sarah Lacina for my number 5. And I think she has a huge advantage from winning an All-Star season and dominating that All-Star season to the point where she could probably play a very similar game this time and have very similar results.
I do think she will make it to the merge. The only reason she wasn't higher on my list is due to the fact of, 1, she did win an All-Star season. 2, she played a really, really good game. Maybe not,
not a Kim or a Boston Rob level game, but she controlled the entire merge onwards.
And not many people realized it either.
Yeah. It was an under the radar that people realized too late.
Yeah, and then, especially since, she has someone that she's played with before, being like Tony, where it's still kind of like fresh in the brain. It's like, oh yeah, Tony, and then,
Tony and Sarah are on the same tribe.
So they're associated with each other, and, sometimes association, that could hinder you a lot.
But Tony's winning the season, so like he's gonna bring Sarah along with him, and cut her at the merge. Watch that happen. The same thing.
That's where I kind of have her. She's number 12, so if we're going with the 13, like, she's the next move.
Mm-hmm.
But like, don't be wrong, she's one of the characters where I wish I could put higher on the list. It's just
I actually kind of forgot about her when I was making this list, and I was like, who have I forgotten? I was like, oh yeah, Sarah, and then I put her high up on my list at that point.
And I respect it too, like, because she's a solid player. Like, there was coming a certain point where I was kind of like, all right, out of the remaining people, because I kind of went from the bottom up, and maybe tinkered with the little things here and there, but Yeah. I don't want to see her go home early, but I hope she's one of the characters I hope I'm a little bit wrong about. You know.
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of people in here that I hope that they don't go off early, or I hope that they don't go far.
All right. So my number 5, and this is another goat character,
Oh,
Sophie.
Sophie.
Are
Interesting.
there because same thing with like Danny, except maybe a little bit um, where I think not many people are going to expect a lot from her this season, especially since a vengeful jury win is what she got basically because no one or like because people were spiteful with Coach, and so like that's part of the reason Sophie won. Um, and out of a lot of people here, she doesn't seem like a huge threat or so I'm thinking that people will be like, bring her along because they think they can beat her at the end. That's why I think she's high up on that list. Don't get me wrong. I don't want her to make it far, but I just
Yeah.
feel like that's going to be, she's going.
She's one of those people that if she wins the season's going to have kind of a sour taste in your mouth.
No, I don't think she's going to win.
Hmm.
There's no way with all these iconic people, and
Yeah.
even when those iconic people go, I just unless she breaks the mold of like her last season and really brings it,
Yeah.
I just see it.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I feel like we've already chosen who wins the season by our previous picks.
Yeah.
This is now really just who's going to make it further in the game.
I have one. I'd say I have maybe one or two people that, all right, they could possibly still win this. It's just like I realize that they can still be like considered a threat.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll get into them. I mean, we're
Yeah.
at the like halfway mark, so here
Yeah.
we're getting into the to the lesser players a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because my next pick is another GOAT character. It's Michelle Fitzgerald.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the first time you stole someone from me before.
Ooh, nice. Look at that.
Because, all right, I want to hear why you think.
Well, I think out of everyone here, she played the most under the radar game that was still a power position move. Like she was still in control of things, but she was very under the radar to the point of most people didn't even realize that she was playing. They thought she was a goat, but
Yeah,
she was extremely likable. Um, and they were like, "Oh, Aubrey's going to win." But Aubrey's mistake of her season was she was trying to play a strategic under the radar game to the point where no one could really see all of these moves that were being done because it was her under the radar strategic game wasn't as good as the under the radar social game.
yeah. And since like we placed her in the same place, one of the reasons why I think she'll make it far, maybe not win, is because she was a sleeper threat.
Yeah.
And even then, like it was like even when it was finale time, I was like, oh wait, shit, she actually has a chance of winning this. Part of the also reason why I think she's not going to make it to the very end is because when I'm getting down to that list and I'm thinking of like, okay, out of everyone who's left, who could potentially beat me? I feel like she's someone that people are going to consider during that point in the game where it's like she might win because she was in the scenario last time she played and she ended up winning. So I feel like when we get to the low numbers, that's when she's going to be targeted.
Yeah. And remember who her greatest ally was in her season? It was Medivacs. Because Aubrey's two allies, biggest, closest allies at the time, got medevaced during power positions.
Yeah.
And it very much helped her get to the end.
I mean, yeah.
Because if Joe Del Campo isn't medevaced at Final Five, Michelle was going home.
I mean, yeah.
And then Aubrey wins pretty convincingly. So Yeah, there was some interesting things that could have happened if Medivacs weren't plaguing that season.
Yeah, like three,
Yeah,
three.
yeah.
Uh,
Because then there was also Neil that got Medivac at the merge, and that was Aubrey's biggest ally at the time.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, Caleb way further back.
Way further
Well,
back, yeah.
yeah, which because when I heard he was going to be in the season, because I haven't watched all the Big Brothers, but he was one. He was in one of the seasons I saw, so I was kind of like low key rooting for him.
Huh.
So like the fact that he fucked up both. Well, he didn't fuck up the first time. His body just shut down on him.
Yeah.
Like the next time around, and it's like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Um,
Yeah. I don't think we'll
any,
see. I don't think we're seeing Caleb on Survivor again.
but all right. So my number six, that isn't Michelle, is going to be Amber.
Amber, interesting.
Part
Another
of
another kind of goat character. I see we put the goat characters in the middle.
it, yeah, part of the reason is one. I know we've talked about this before, where you think Amber is going to be targeted pretty early. I
Mhm.
feel that she won't be, in the sense of like, Boston Rob is clearly the bigger threat, and like I don't think voting her out would phase Boston Rob too much. Like if you're trying to throw him off his game, um, I don't think voting out his spouse is a way to do it. I think if anything, he's like maybe play a little harder. Uh, I just don't see him. Or I did, but part of me is like, if we're going with the whole theory of like we have the big merge where everyone who's been voted off will be part of the jury. Um, I feel that during the point where it's like we're getting further along, Amber has a guaranteed vote at the end. Granted, it's one guaranteed vote,
Yeah.
but that's still one vote that could be, even if it's like Amber, um, um, let's say it's Amber, Tony, and Kim. That's one vote away from Tony or Kim that could be going to Tony and Kim, and that could cost them the game. You know, so that's part of my reasoning for that.
I just can't see her getting that far in this game. I don't think that they want the Marianos to to get that far.
I think it's the one Mariano that they need to be concerned with, because
uh,
she also won because of a vengeful jury.
yeah.
You know,
But do you think that we still have vengeful juries? I feel like juries now are very more respecting the gameplay.
I mean, yes, but if I'm looking in and I was in this season, and let's say like I'm not considered a big threat or anything like that, but like I would say I'm like a mid-level player. Um, I'm not, and I'm like looking at all these people. I'm not seeing. I'm One of the things I'm looking at is okay. Amber, yeah, she won an All-Star season, but back then it was very vengeful jury. So if I'm looking at people's play styles and like why they were voted to win, like Sophie and like Amber, they were vengeful juries. And even if that's not the case now, which honestly it's not, yeah, and especially this season, people are going to respect gameplay more than anything. Um,
Hmm.
it's more like, okay, she's not going to be that big of a threat because she won due to a vengeful jury, as opposed to like, she just played a way better social game.
Uh, yeah, we're gonna have to see because I'm fair. I put her as my number 16.
I mean, I'm not going to be upset if she goes home early.
Yeah, because I don't think she's the best TV that we've witnessed on Survivor.
You know, but like I said, I'm always open to people surprising me on the show.
uh,
Um, who knows? Like maybe this could be like, oh, Amber really comes in because she's been living with Boston Rob and all that stuff, and so like, Boston, he's gonna be like talking to him about all this stuff before they go out and everything.
imagine if they both made the family visit. How
That would be
crazy would that be? Also, have you heard any of the rumors on the family visits?
no.
So now they're allowing kids to go out there for the family visit, like kids, like Tyson's, if he makes it, has like a 4-year-old coming out.
Aw. That's
And they're allowing multiple family members to come out, not just one.
that's nice. I know other than last season with should not be named. The only other time they did someone that was like under 18, to my recollection, is on Exile Island with Shane Powers, his
Yeah,
son. So like, that'd be cute. Just seeing like Tyson's little boy, just, or is it a boy or girl?
that's a girl.
It, her just like walling out.
Yeah,
And,
and the fact is, these are all pretty much parents, so we're gonna see like just kids galore coming out there. And also, because of Edge of Extinction, they can also get family members. So every family member that is at the point of Edge of Extinction is coming out there.
nice.
So we're going to just have an episode just littered with kids.
I'd be interested to see that. Like it's also nice. What I love about the loved ones, we get a peek in their inner lives more than just what they're saying. Because it's one thing being like, oh, I sell this and this, or oh, I'm a teacher, or stuff like that. But like seeing the loved ones, you do get a peek at their like actual lives, because like I could be on there and being like, oh yeah, I was I'm a dog walker and stuff like that, and that's the angle they go for. But because that's like my survival job when I'm not acting.
Mhm.
But like, let's say they bring out one of my roommates, or they bring out like my dad or stuff like that. You kind of like see more into their character in that way.
Yeah. You know me, I do not like the family visit. If they axed the family visit altogether, I would not cry a tear. I wouldn't bat an eye. I would be happy that we get that time to spend on the game. Um, but I get that some people like the kind of stuff that goes on in it. I guess.
I can be. It doesn't always make the greatest TV, but sometimes I like cheese.
Yeah,
Like cheesy
you.
stuff.
I like my cheese on when it's grilled. Okay, moving on to the
Yeah,
next pick. I have Ethan Zahn.
Ethan's on.
Yeah.
He's someone that I do want to see go further in the game.
Hmm.
So I respect your choice. Like
Yeah.
legit.
So
Um,
I I actually kind of found like a rumor going around that Ethan is going to be the villain of the season. I have no idea, but just that
Were
alone,
these the same people with the Jar Jar theory?
I don't know. I don't know, but they say he is the villain of the season, and I am now so interested to see if Ethan's going to become a villain.
Okay.
That alone made me not want to put him at near the bottom of the list. Is
He's not
just that.
he's not near the bottom.
Yeah.
He's close to the bottom.
He
No, no, no.
yeah.
It's like he's
He's
not in my.
middle to bottom. I put him middle to bottom pretty much.
I think, or what I put him as is like I think he's gonna go out pre-merge, mostly because he might be considered a threat-ish, and also since he even said in like his little bio I read, back when he knows that back when he played there were no like idols, there were no there were all these twists and turns and everything like that. Granted, Amber had didn't either,
Hmm.
but at the same time Amber has Boston Rob as like a coach,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe he might not be able to navigate the game as well in the beginning. I feel like that might be his downfall in some regard. Well, also when I was making this list, I was also thinking actually he kind of inspired the whole like people that played multiple seasons, because if you remember in All Stars they were targeting people that have already won, and I
Yeah.
feel like that might be a reason to get him out early.
But that
Um,
wouldn't that be such great justice if he wins this season, an all-winner season after going out because he was a winner?
I mean, it would make a great story. I feel like a
Yes.
lot of people, if they win, they do would have like a great like story of them winning.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely.
but it is Ethan and Amber have the longest gap in between playing Survivor. Even though Amber has Boston Rob, that's not the same as living it.
Yeah, but I'm. But like I said, I would like for Ethan to come back because I did like him in his first season in Africa. I did see Africa after I saw All Stars, so it was a bit like I didn't really know like a whole much about him before I like when I watched All Stars.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I said, I would love to see like pleasant surprises. Like I think he's definitely like a draw to this season because of the layoff.
Yeah. And the fact that he had lymphoma and beat
Yeah,
it, like that alone, they're going to talk about it, even if he's an early boot. Like that is going to be a storyline.
I mean, yeah, they put in the trailer.
Yeah.
Um, but either way, whether he goes out early or goes out, or makes it to the end,
Yeah.
I'm still glad that they're bringing him back.
I can definitely. I think he's. If I had to guess where he was going to end right now, I think it's going to end about where Kelly Wigglesworth went out in Second Chance.
Fair statement.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I think that they're not going to target him early on because he is such a likable guy and he's been through so much. I don't think he's going to be like one of the first three people gone.
Yeah, I think we all know who some of the first early boots are going to
Yeah.
be. But all right. So my next person on my list, we're on 7, right? It's my number.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
So it's going to be Wendell Holland.
Wendell Holland, interesting.
Most of the reason is I feel like because in his season he was known for, and reading his bio, like he was playing kind of like oh he was thinking about people back home with some of the decisions that he made and stuff like that, and he's a likable guy. However, I think because I have him like at number 9, I
Mhm.
feel like as it progresses, they're going to be like, oh, okay, like he might be a nice guy, and also, he has a good build, so maybe he might be not necessarily a meat shield, but if we're looking at people that could go in place of a meat shield, he might be one of the people they're like, oh yeah, Wendell. Um,
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I have just this idea
yeah,
that he might be the first one out.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, but at the same time, I feel in a game where you have legends, that's one of his saving graces, as
But
that
if
he is.
what if the legends know they're legends and team
I
up
mean,
against the
obviously they
newbies?
know they're legends.
Yeah, but exactly. So then why don't they also just team up? Why would they want to attack each other when they could team up and get rid of the newbies first?
Well, I guess I need to look up the teams, but like,
Yeah.
it would have been interesting if they had like old school versus new school, kind of like as a
Yeah.
theme.
I think
Like,
that would have been a lot more fun actually. And
yeah,
it would have saved some people who probably go out early in the season.
yeah. Because I feel like some of the old school characters are going to go pretty soon.
Mhm.
Mostly because like in the past, that kind of is what happens. There's not that many of them, or well, I mean, there's like 9 before Heroes versus Villains, at
Mhm.
least to my tally. Um, so I feel like they have it more even than they have had it in the past. But I do feel that it's going to be a bit more challenging, especially it's like, we have people like I'm going with the mentality like assess the biggest threats. The people that have played more than twice are going to be a big threat.
Do you want
Yeah.
to hear who's on Wendell's tribe?
Who?
Tyson, Sophie, Sandra, Wendell, Yule, Sarah, Amber, Kim, Tony, and Nick Wilson.
All right, so he's
That's a very that's kind of an old school tribe.
yeah. So maybe I guess it also depends on what those people do in the tribe. Like we won't know until the very first episode. How?
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, but like he's a character I'm kind of a little bit impartial to.
Mhm.
Uh, no offense to him or anything like that. It's just like out of a lot of the people here, like I have a stronger opinion than I do about them than I do about him.
Mhm. Nice. Okay, so now this next pick, I feel like we're starting to get to the point of I really don't think they're going to win. I just like them.
I feel, I feel you might steal someone.
I don't think I am. I'm going to take Parvati Shallow.
Okay.
Yeah. As I said, I don't think she's winning. I don't even know if she makes the merge. Probably not. I'm just glad that we get to see Parvati again. But now she's going to be playing as an older lady, pretty much. She's not going to have the flirt game, or at least not as strong. And I just want to see what happens with her.
Feel all right because she was one of the characters where I really wanted to see go further just because, I like their, like who they are.
Yeah.
It's just, I was taking into consideration she is a legend.
Yep.
And I'm also taking into consideration that she also, every time she has played, she has made it to the merge, past the halfway mark, making it to the finale twice. Now, she has a lot of that on her, but I'd say the one thing that kind of like saves her a little bit is is that people know like her flirtation and stuff was like one of the things that put her on the map.
Mhm.
And so like a lot of these folks are married, they have
Yeah.
kids. You can't really do that.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine if Parvati is trying to, flirt with Tony or something.
Interesting couple. Um, but like, yeah, I'd say that's why I think maybe I think she would be the merge boot.
Yeah.
Um, or at least because she's one of the people I don't want to see her go home early, but I do have to come to think she is a legend, which makes her a big threat.
Yeah. True.
All right, but like I said, I like her.
Yeah, she was in my top 10.
Yeah, and I'm hoping I'm a little bit wrong about her. Maybe she lasts for a while because I don't want to see these legends go out early. It's
Yeah.
just that name of the game.
Yeah.
So my 10, and I was talking about him earlier. I just never said his name. He was the one where I want him to win. I just don't think it's in the cards for him. And he was in my top 10 as well.
Tyson. He was my next person. I was actually wondering if I should take Tyson or Parvati.
I mean, I'm glad you took Parvati.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where's Parvati in your list real fast?
13.
13.
Right at,
So
like,
we just flipped them a little bit.
all right. But with Tyson, like, I really liked him his first season. Heroes versus Villains, a little underutilized.
Yeah, he is just known for that one stupid move.
Yeah. And then he owned it in his season in Blood versus Water. Like, that was his game to lose. And, like, he was able to mask, pretty much. And he did the ballsiest thing. It's like, okay, let's draw rocks. Because part of the thing is, and it plays good to his strategy, he kind of goes about things like he gives no fucks. So that's why not as many people take him seriously. Now, and since this is a forced time playing, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, so we know Tyson. We know how. And even in his bio, he's like, oh, just like even further that up. Like, I'm just out here to, like have fun, whatever.
Yeah, he considers himself a professional Survivor player. So whenever he needs some extra money, just go on Survivor real fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's very well. He's very, like chill about things, and he has like a fun little outlook. That's why he's one of my favorite contestants.
Uh,
Is like, he kind of doesn't like he takes it seriously, but he doesn't necessarily take it as seriously as like
yeah,
the hard hitting players. So
yeah.
that's why I feel like he's going to go further than some of the other. I'm a little hesitant to call him a legend.
Mhm.
I would say
Yeah,
definitely.
he's in that like semi-legend territory where it's like he's been around all these legends, but you think of those legends first before Tyson. Like I
Yeah.
forget sometimes that Tyson is on this cast, which is
Uh,
crazy.
well, I can't because
Yeah.
things,
It
but
seems like he's an afterthought compared to like the Tonys, the Boston Robs, the Parverdys, even the Ethans.
I guess like I can see why, but at the same time, I feel like part of the reason why I don't think he's gonna. I think he'll make it to merge, maybe. Like I'm hoping he does at the very least. But it's more of the fact of like because he's so kind of chill about everything. Like they're not going to see him as the biggest threat, but further down the line, especially when it comes to merge, he's going to be gunned for.
Yeah, it's also crazy. Like, if you just saw his Token Team's performance and you said, "Hey, that guy's going to be playing 4 times," that would have been crazy. It's like, what? Are you on something right now? But somehow he's just still here.
I mean, that just goes to show, like, especially after his kind of like dishonorable vote off in Heroes versus Villains.
Mhm.
Like,
I thought that was the last time we'd see him.
yeah, like as in like some people being like, uh, oh, they were really good in their first season, but they did pretty crappy when they came to an all-star season. It kind of leaves us not necessarily a sour taste, but it's like you get less enthused about that person, where it's like, oh, looks like they were a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Um, which I don't like, but he beat that. I think it was partially because he was so likable and like in Tocantins and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, and like you said, he needed some extra cash, so go on Survivor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's a stay-at-home dad because he's on Survivor.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Now,
So my next pick, I'm going with Natalie Anderson.
all right.
I think she was a great player in San Juan del Sur. She really played a great game. Um, thing is, though, there's a lot of people here who have played great games, and I think that she is not destined for this game.
Do you think that because she was in Amazing Race, did very well on that show, obviously, and
Yeah,
then she did very well in Survivor. I think she's one of the people that will be considered a big threat early on, and
yeah,
that's why she's she's kind of low on my list. Like she's number
mhm,
16.
yeah,
Um, it's mostly because like against these legends and against the fact like she won pretty much 2 other games.
mhm,
I just don't really see
yeah.
her.
What really helped her in San Juan del Sur was the fact that her twin went out first.
Yeah,
Because then it made her seem like, because she was just one of the 20s, like, oh, it's that easy to get rid of one of them. So let's not focus on her right now. Let's focus on the other people. And then it got to the point where she was controlling the driver's seat and no one was still looking at her. But
yeah,
now
yeah.
she's playing by herself as someone that everyone knows played a good game, and you can't erase that from people's minds.
Fair enough. Um, yeah. And don't get me. I liked Blood vs. Water too. It's
Mhm.
just I feel like when people associate that season with who's like still kind of around, you get Wentworth and you get Jeremy.
Yeah, not Natalie.
Yeah,
And
but
it's crazy because the Wentworth went out pre-merge, Jeremy went out during member number two. So
I mean, you also think of Keith a little bit.
Keith, yeah, and he's never playing again though.
Yeah,
I think he's a little too old. He's getting to that Rudy level of oldness.
that and like he even said, Survivor ain't that fun. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, so next on my list,
It's got to be
it's
Ben, right?
because once I choose this person, it's pretty much official who's going to be our like last picks.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm choosing Ben
Yeah.
as my number. Um, I liked him in Triple H. I thought he was cool. I guess like part of the reason is sometimes he blew up is he could be a loud personality, and
Mhm.
sometimes loud personalities get out early. I don't think like he's going to be a huge threat, but I feel like when it comes to the merge, he's someone that is going to be targeted.
Yeah, it's interesting too because in his interviews he says he doesn't want to find idols this time. He wants to rely on his social game, which he won his season by finding idols.
Yeah. So I feel like part of the thing is like people are going to expect him because no matter who you are when you're out there, people are going to make assumptions based on how you played before. And granted, take into consideration that they obviously have seen themselves on TV. And when you watch yourself, it's like, oh man, I should have done this, or why did I do this? Or like that was dumb. I don't know how I, was able to wiggle out of that, but um, I just feel like that he's a big guy. He definitely seems like someone that might go out around where the merge happens, especially if like
Mhm.
idol hunters will probably also be targeted as well.
Yeah, I could see him being honestly one of the first three outs. I could see people just being like, I don't want to play with this guy. Let's get him out.
All right. I mean, he's someone that I'm like kind of impartial to. Like, I think it's cool that they brought him back, but at the same time, I'm not gonna
I don't
cry.
think
Like,
anyone was dying to see Ben back.
yeah, like
Whereas I like half this cast are people like we are pretty excited to some extent to see return. I don't think Ben's one of those people.
no, I'm like cool, but I'm not like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. I prefer seeing him over like Sophie.
Yeah, yeah,
He's got that. I'd
he
actually
does.
prefer Danny over Ben just because it's been so long since Danny.
That's where I draw a line.
Oh no, she's the first Guatemala survivor to come back. How cool is that?
But then again, it's Survivor Guatemala.
Wow, some shade being thrown out to season 11. That was the first time they introduced the idol.
Yeah, it is, but I just if we go with what I feel like is a great season or an iconic season, I don't think of Guatemala at all. The only
Ah,
thing, the only time I think about it is when Sophie was also on this season, or not Sophie, Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Um, all right, so are you choosing Sandra or are you choosing Rob?
I'm choosing Sandra. I just I just feel like Rob is going to be targeted as soon as his tribe loses an immunity challenge.
Yeah,
He might make it through one of those immunity tribal councils. He's not
if he
making it past the
finds
second one.
if he finds an idol or an advantage,
Yeah.
um, definitely because we're, or at least when I made my list, because with idols or advantages, those are like extras to the game that might switch the tide for a vote, maybe the entire game, but at the very least for one vote. And so I took that out of consideration when I made this list,
Mhm.
just on like targeting and all that stuff. And both Sandra and Rob, it's like they have the biggest targets on their back. Do you watch My Hero Academia?
I do.
Their UA during the license exam.
Yeah, that's very true. And everyone was wanting to gun at them, but UA found a way.
They found a way, and I feel like it could be possible. And I feel like maybe Edge of Extinction might, further that. And like, granted, also with Edge of Extinction, one of the great things, what I loved about it in its initial season was even if the people were out, it still felt like they were a part of the show. And especially with an all-star season, I like that. It's like, they're still around.
Even if Tony goes out first, we're going to see him for the majority of the show.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a clip here or there, we're going to see him.
But that being said, Sandra, she already won twice.
Yeah, but imagine if she was a 3-time winner. Just imagine that.
I have a very vivid imagination, and while I can see it, it's not plausible.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to live in that world, actually, where Sandra is a 3-time winner. I don't think anyone wants to. She's cocky already as a 2-time winner.
I don't even know, just imagining that final 3, even if, she has Sophie on one side and Danny on the other.
She beats anyone in this game if she's there with them.
Like, I just don't. But then again, it's like getting that person another $2 million. Like, she's already won.
But the thing is how did she make it to the end of an all-winner season as a 2-time winner?
And as a legend.
As a legend. So that alone, I think almost everyone on this cast would just vote for her. I think she has gotten to that point where she can beat anyone. There could be someone like an Ethan who beats Lymphoma. If she's sitting next to him, she still beats him.
I feel like if Boston Rob or Sandra make it to the end, then yeah. It's just extremely... They have the worst odds out of anyone.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is the odds of them getting to that point are so small that if they manage to do it, they're going to get the win. But it's so small, it doesn't seem possible. And that's where it is.
And that's the most crazy part about this game, but it's also the most upsetting because this is going to be things, careers are going to end because of this game.
Yeah, most of these people have basically said this is the last time they'll play. So we are getting a look at some of people's last games in Survivor.
So
it better be an epic season.
I feel it's going to be. I don't think it's going to disappoint with all the twists, all these people coming back from different parts of Survivor history. I think it'll be good. I think it's good.
Jeff Probst has even said that this season is unlike any season we've ever seen.
I know. I'm just like,
I just wanted to be here already.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about this for quite some time. Like, granted, I have a lot of thoughts during the day. At least every day at some point I'm thinking about Winners at War.
Mm-hmm.
Because Survivor was something I kind of grew up with at a certain point, a little bit before I got into high school, junior high. And so it's something where it's a show that I've always kind of stuck to and try to keep up. The only time where I was kind of behind on episodes-ish was when I was in college and first transitioning and being in the college setting. That's when I found it a little bit more difficult to keep up a little bit. But I still power through because I was watching a lot of shows. But when I got to college, it kind of trickled down because I had, school and also, this is my first time really socializing with people. So, but Survivor has been one of those shows, that and Walking Dead, that survived me going to college.
Yeah, and then what happened to Glenn happened, and then I stopped watching.
I mean, it's pretty cool still. Like now that they introduced the Whisperers, like
Yeah.
it's been
Well, they've been like hinting toward them for a while, I feel, right?
ish. I mean, the Whisperers, they came in last season after they were kind of things that after Rick left the show, they're like, all right, that's kind of the next big thing that's going to happen. Whispers. Um, and then this season, they've been. That's the thing that's just on everyone's mind is what is Alpha going to do? Like because she's just ruthless.
Yeah, and let's get back onto Survivor on the Survivor podcast.
All right.
We can have a Walking Dead podcast at some point.
But yeah, so if we want to go over our picks, just to be like, kind of like see who's on our draft.
Yeah, sure. Do you want one of us just to go through their entire team and then the next person?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go first. So I have Tony, Adam, Jeremy, Nick, Sarah, Michelle, Ethan, Parvati, Natalie, and Sandra.
Solid. And on mine, I have Kim, Yule, Danny, Denise, Sophie, Amber, Wendell, Tyson, Ben, and Boston Rob.
Yeah, this is going to be an epic season. I feel like our predictions might be very wrong.
We just don't know the shape of how people are going to play because we can speculate.
Yeah, we won't know until like they first hit the beach because I feel like we'll get an idea once that they hit the beach where everyone's at. But until then, it's impossible to predict.
I don't know. Has there been times like I feel with Game Changers? I don't think Sierra was the person I thought was going to win, but she sure as heck was someone that I really was thinking this could potentially be her season. And she was voted out first.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone out there is going to have like a Sierra moment. Everyone.
Yeah. I don't think that this is going to be a dominated season by one player. This is going to be a clusterfuck of things happening.
It's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
It's going to be winners at war.
Bump, bump, bump. Okay, well, thanks for watching this episode of the Day After podcast. Catch us next time. I don't know when our next video will be, but I believe the airing of it is like February 12th? Is that when Winners at War is happening?
It's early February.
Yeah, it's.
I'll see.
Yeah, we'll when it airs, you'll know because then you want to see the podcast and know what happens. We'll be here for that.
You want to hear Survivor fans talking about Survivor, especially with the biggest season yet.
Exactly. Okay, so stay classy, YouTube. See that was an Anchorman reference.